How you doing, fam? This is Chris Robinson with Media TV, and I'm gonna be dropping this video on about FEMA disaster trailer tab up to 150K, 18 months of use. This article dropped on December 27, 2017, 10:53 a.m. Okay, so we're gonna get into it right now. So, Fort Worth, Texas, the federal government typically spends up to 150K a piece, not counting utilities, maintenance, or labor on the trailers it leases to disaster victims, then auction them at cut rate prices after 18 months of use or first sign of minor damage, the Associated Press has learned. Officials have continued to practice even amid a temporary housing shortage in Texas, where almost 8,000 applicants are still awaiting federal support nearly 4 months after Hurricane Harvey landed in the Gulf Coast. The Federal Emergency Management Agency briefly halted trailer sales following Harvey, but resumed them in November. Online records show since then at least 115 units manufactured this year have been sold for pennies on the dollar, and many of online auctions have listed such things as dirty mattresses, missing furniture, pet odors, or loose trim as the lawn damage. I don't care what shape it's in, it's beats sleeping on a dirt floor, said Christy Combs, who moved with her husband, 4 children, and 5 dogs into a tent after their rented apartment in Aransas Pass, Texas, was left uninhabitable by floodwater. FEMA has no written policy on regulation requiring disposal of used trailers, but an official confirmed to AP that it's a long-standing internal policy and that seldom are the housing units given to another family in need after the initial 18-month stint. Because of the challenges associated with damaged units and the cost of life cycle maintenance, and because we are required to maintain a ready reserve for disaster, FEMA by practice doesn't return used units to our reserve inventory, said Jenny Burke, a spokeswoman for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which oversees FEMA. Burke was unable to explain why FEMA leases new units for only 18 months before consigning them to the General Service Administration online auction. The agency experience after Hurricane Katrina in 2005 could provide one explanation for a strict policy governing what kind of housing can go to storm victims. Some 144,000 FEMA trailers became symbol of the troubled federal response after some victims who lived in them for years won millions of dollars from lawsuits claiming the units leached high levels of cancer, causing formaldehyde. Sorry, y'all, I didn't know how to say that word. I'm sorry. FEMA spokesman Bob Howard stressed the unit being used now are much higher quality than those and don't have formaldehyde problems, meeting U.S. housing and urban development standard for mobile homes. Harvey survivors in Texas have received 859 trailers so far, but another some 7,900 applicants are in need of some type of temporary housing assistance, whether rent, home repairs, or trailer, Howard said. FEMA policy of selling off its used trailers left the agency with a standing inventory of only 1,700 units. As an unusual active hurricane season battered southeast Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands this year. Federal records show that the Fema has awarded about $278 million in competitive bid contracts to trailer manufacturers, even as it has continued to sell off units. One record show as expected delivery date of February 2018. In September, when AP first reported on the auctions, officials said the units sold had all been used to house survivors of the 2016 flood in southern Louisiana who returned them with damages that made them unfit for redeployment. More than 100 2017 model trailers were sold in the 2 days leading up Harvey's landfall August 25, the AP reported. On August 28, FEMA ordered the auction halted to evaluate the overall condition recently deactivated units, said Burt, adding that some were eventually deployed to support disaster response, although none that required refurbishment. If you are living in a tent, you really don't care about the trim, said Samantha McCrary, the owner of the catering business in Rockport, Texas, who since the storm hit August 25th has allowed people to camp on her 3.5-acre property. At its height, the Rockport Relief Camp hosted around 80 people in the tents and trailers and served 1,000 meals per day. McCrary, her husband, and other Southeast Texans volunteers has accepted donated used trailers and fixed them up for tent dwellers. They're rough, but the water and the heat works. They've got plywood for a windshield, plywood for doors, and people are thrilled to death to get them, McCrary said. Among the beneficiaries was Combs, who said she was denied temporary housing assistance by FEMA. Whether you have children or not, living in a tent for any amount of time when you have been turned down by the government is very heartbreaking, she said. Other slightly used FEMA trailers have resurfaced on Craigslist. A Harvey survivor in Houston is living in a 2017 model trailer that her church pooled money to buy from retired North Texas Fire Chief Shane English. English purchased it for $10,000 in June from the online auction and advertised it on Craigslist for $18,000. It was a brand new unit that hadn't been lived in. They bought it and set it up for her. She just as happy as you can imagine, English said. The 5 trailers English purchased from the auction model ranges from 2012 through 2017 were all in mint condition. He added, the floors are rock solid, it's well insulated, very well built, and they come fully furnished too. So that was that story. Okay guys, I just want to get y'all overall thoughts. Drop your comment in the comment section, drop me a like, and want y'all to have a great day. Be careful and love your family and have a nice evening.